And it is recording. Okay, today is September 3rd, Thursday. I'm Fausta Narafay, Assistant Professor of Ed Leadership and Policy Studies at Southern Connecticut State University. And I am here with Keith and Rebecca, and we're going to be talking about the EDL 687 internship course. I'm going to be your supervisor, and I'm recording this since a number of you have class. So, Keith and Rebecca, is it okay that we record this session?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so I may forget something in this process, and it's going to be a lot of talking for me. And also, just so you know, it's very, very hot in my room, so I'm sweating like crazy. But this is the internship for your 092 certification. It's a year-long event where you work closely with me, your supervisor, and a mentor that you identified from typically your school, someone who has a 092 certification. And we ask you to work through a number of activities that are really related to two things. One has to do with the Connecticut leadership standards, and the other has to do with just leadership practice around and through those. And it's a really, I think, a very interesting, intricate, and robust experience for you. And a lot of people have no idea sort of what it is that they will get out of it at the very beginning. It's hard to see. But I assure you that it's really going to be something that you learn a great deal from. So feel free to ask questions as I go along. What I basically am going to do is to orient you to the website and to the pieces that are on the website, and because that's where you and I will be doing most of our interaction and work. We'll talk by phone a number of times, but that website area on Blackboard 9 is where you'll be posting your activities and so on. So that's where I'd like to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen, which now I need to figure out how to do that. Let me see here. Here it is. Okay, share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? It should be Blackboard.
I can.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so everybody, this is how it goes. On Blackboard, there is the syllabus for the course, and also the internship handbook. Those two things, the syllabus and the handbook, actually they're aligned, and in the handbook is a syllabus. Those are what really need to guide you through this process, and the handbook is really where you can go to just revisit what it is that you need to understand, what you need to do, and so on. I try to parse it out in different ways, but just revisit the handbook often so that you know that you're on track. So I'm going to go into Blackboard. So you type in, to get into Blackboard, you type in your username and your password, and these are ones that would be generated for you by Southern. Your username is just the first part of your email address. And you log in, and your page may not look like my page because I have many more courses than you do. Hold on a second. But let me get to this, and I'll put it in student mode in just a moment. So this is student view. So this is typically what you will see when you go in. And basically what I'd like to share with you, this is where you log out at the top right of the screen. This is where you see the course content. And in this particular shell of BB9, you just have course content. And when you click on the course content page that you're seeing here, and on this page is the internship orientation presentation that I'll be going over today, the internship syllabus, the internship handbook that I just discussed, and although it says fall 2014, that's because that was its last revision. We do need to get a confirmation that you have had your background checks done at your institutions. Basically, it's a form where you ask your supervisor to confirm that you've had a background check. If you haven't had a background check, let me know, and we'll go from there to get you checked from ACES. But I'll be sending you the form via email and posting it here.
Okay. Can I
Here
ask a
is
question?
sure. Mm-hmm.
At least I received an email with a form that had to be filled out on the background check information. So, and we were to fax it in before
so they
September
sent them
10th.
to you.
So I faxed it in. I had my principal sign off, and I faxed it in. So do I need to do it again?
No, you don't need to do it again. And I was not aware that they had contacted you all directly, and so they're still working through the Student Success Office. So if that's true, is that true of you as well, Keith, that you've gotten that? And
I just found out about it yesterday, and I was working on it today, and I have to send it in the next couple of days.
Okay, but you got the email as well.
Yes, I thought it was for a different class, though.
Okay, well, it should be for the internship. I'll go back and check, and I'll send an email clarifying all of that. But thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, so so that's the background check. So the standards for school leaders and related documents. You will be needing to take your CAT exam, and you should either one of the units before you've taken the coursework for that unit. So typically people do 682 first and then 683, and you should be talking with your prof in those courses about when is the right time to take the CAT. But in the internship, we want to support your understanding of the Connecticut School Leadership Standards so that as you go through this process, you can also apply those in your CAT exams as well as to your professional practice, of course. So the standards are here more later on. That bulletin that they've developed, and so that's also there. So I'm clicking back because I'd gone into this folder, the standards folder. Okay. Here, this is basically what you'll be clicking on a lot, is the assignment uploads. Now, you will see that there are a number of things that do for this internship, and one is to identify a mentor, and then you and me and the mentor will meet early on in the year, probably in the later part of October, or prior, it depends. But we'll meet with your mentor just to kind of get everybody on the same page around what mentoring means and how you can work well with your mentor. I ask you to create a timeline of deadlines for when you're going to get your various pieces in. There's the PIP, which is the Personal Internship Plan, and that is what you're going to do. It's your main project for this internship, and what you do is you identify a project where you can gather data at the beginning and along the way toward the end to see how there's progress. So you want to have a data aspect to your PIP and also have it something that is really beneficial to the organization in which you're working. So in your school, or maybe you're a counselor, however, whatever your location is in your institution, something that benefits it. We ask you to log your time, and basically what that is a it's like one of those diet diaries where you're supposed to write down everything that you eat. Basically, we want you to write down all of the hours that you have, that you're clocking at your school, and we want you to identify what those hours are in relation to the 6 leadership standards. So, are these hours kind of family and community-based? Are these hours really instructionally focused? Are these hours more about professional development or policy? And in this log sheet, and I'll show you what it looks like, we just ask you to keep logging for the entire year. And people get into they get into different kinds of the log sheet's not here. This is just the upload space. I'm sorry. They get into different kind of rhythms about how they do it. But the main thing about the log sheet is that it's a big Excel sheet, and I just want you to keep adding to it so that it's cumulative. Every single 2 weeks, you know, you've just added more on to the end of what you had before and uploaded again. So it's the same file that you continually add to. And I have a video, and I'll show you that in a minute, that provides guidance about ways to fill out the log. We ask you to do community service and take it and document it. And the community service is one of the pieces of the internship that a lot of people really derive a great deal of satisfaction and growth from. The idea is to identify something that you can do for 10 hours in your institution again, in a way where you partner with an outside organization, really an organization that's typically a community-based organization. It can be a national organization, regional, local, but typically a nonprofit organization that you can work with to affect some kind of change and enhance your school setting or maybe your community. And I prefer you to do something that involves the students, if at all possible, and we can talk more about that, but that's the community service proposal. At the beginning of the semester, we ask you to take the ELSI, the Education Leadership Self-Inventory. It's basically a test. You know, we ask you a lot of questions, and then you get to map yourself on 12 different indicators. So we'd like you to just do that as soon as you possibly can. Once you've had your PIP and you've started to undertake this project, we ask you to reflect on it 3 times. And these reflections, there are 9 of them throughout the year. You reflect on your PIP 3 times, at the beginning, somewhere in the middle, and at the end. You reflect on a PPT meeting that you participate in, not as an active participant, but as an observer, because the idea is you to observe the PPT meeting as a leader. We ask you to go to a Board of Education meeting and do the same thing, look at it as a leader and try and understand, you know, what's important about it. What do you think about it? How would you be involved in a Board of Education meeting if it were something that was always on your docket, et cetera? We ask you to undertake an out-of-level reflection where you connect with another school and you step out of your level. I say another school. You can do out of level in your own district or even in your building where, for example, if you have a multi-grade building, maybe you're an elementary school teacher, and so you could go to the middle school and you could shadow someone who's doing middle school leadership. I actually think it's wonderful for you to go out to a different school so that you have an opportunity to see a different culture. And the other thing is that if you are thinking about job hunting, or if you have a particular institution that you think you might like to try to move to and be employed at in the future, it's a wonderful way to make connections and start to network. So the out-of-level reflection experience is interesting and important because you get to shadow someone for a day or 2 half days, and then you know, you make connection in that way. There's a reflection on your community service activities. We ask you to observe a class as a leader, as if you were a leader, and to reflect on that. We also ask you to attend a CAS workshop, and that's up in Cheshire. So you do have to plan for that. You will be assigned a day, and typically, you know, far in advance, so you should be able to plan for it. If you need to move, we can do that. But this is a wonderful opportunity to connect with basically its other principals throughout the state around a topic of the workshop. And then there's a diversity reflection. And now this diversity reflection is the one reflection that is absolutely required to do, and it can bump a reflection of the other ones. You should only have 9. So there are actually 10 reflections that can take place. So you get to bump one of them. Okay? So those are the reflections. Any questions about that? I mean, in general, about sort of the fact that there are these reflections.
Can I ask about the CAS reflection?
Sure.
Now, you're saying that we have to go to that. When is that typically done? Is it during school hours, so we would have to take a day off, or is that after school hours on the weekends?
Yeah, you can go to the CAS website, although we don't encourage you to call CAS, right? But if you go to CAS or CASIAC, C-A-S-I-A-C website, it's usually CAS/CASIAC, you will be able to see when they're holding, excuse me, their principal workshops, and you'll be able to see some. I think they tend to be during the day, and most people can either get their administrators to let them off and not have to take a personal day, or they do take a personal day.
So do we sign up for that ourselves, or are we?
No, you will be told. I will be giving you a date,
oh, okay.
And then we'll work through that. But yeah, they prefer, because it's so many students, they prefer that we don't contact them and that we try to schedule through our own means.
Okay.
Are we able to request the specific dates if we're seeing the dates on the website?
No, that isn't really how it goes. But as I say, if it turns out that the date that's been selected for you is something that you can't make, then we try to accommodate a different way. Okay. So at the end of so these last pieces here, semester number 2, LC, mentor assessment, and the cumulative portfolio reflection, and the TK20 piece, and the electronic portfolio. These all happen in the second semester. You don't have to worry about these at this time. The semester 2 LC is just the LC. You do it over again, and you see how much growth that you have had over the years, and it's pretty impressive. The mentor assessment is a form that your mentor can check off and provide some comments about your activities with him or her, and just the assessment is not figured into any kind of grade around this internship. It's just there for your own information and your own communication and development and growth with your mentor. And then we note it here. And then the final cumulative portfolio reflection is it's a very structured writing, and the instructions are in the handbook, and it basically gets you to reflect on the whole year that you've been involved in, about the standards and just kind of your professional development going forward. It's a nice wrap to the year. And then I'll go to the portfolio for a second. The portfolio is, so at the end of so throughout this entire process, you should be collecting these documents that you're making. You'll collect them, they'll all be on Blackboard. Evidence of the PIP, and I want to be clear about what that means. The project is to improve math scores with English language learners over the year. And you start out with some kind of math assessment at the beginning. I don't know whether it's formative or summative or how you do, but that you provide workshops and additional materials. Maybe you do some work with their families at home, but you have a number of activities that you're doing in order to improve their math, and then you assess them when it's appropriate throughout the year so that you can see growth. And that would be there would be emails about how you organize things. They'd be the charts of the schedules and who's involved with the various teaching or mentoring or something, or the meetings with the parents. There would be the actual data from any kind of assessments that you gave, or even standardized assessments if they're available, and so on. So those kinds of things constitute the data that you will submit in your portfolio. And you can submit your portfolio electronically or as a binder anywhere. And I just ask that you redact, that you cross out any identifying information of students so that nobody's compromised. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yes.
Does that make sense to you too, Rebecca?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's that, and then the very last thing is TK20, and I suspect you've all purchased TK20, and this is the last time that we ask you to, we'll ask you to upload a very specific set of things, a couple of reflections, the cumulative reflection, I believe, the LC chart that shows your growth over time, and so on. So those things are in the handbook as well. So this is if you post to everything in this section, in this assignment uploads folder, then you will have completed this process, right? These are the rubrics, both the reflections and for the whole PIP portfolio. You can have a look at them. I grade very loosely off the rubrics because I feel that they don't actually focus as much on the things that are most important, which has to do with the standards and the kinds of connections that you're making. But they are, you know, they are what we follow. And then I do need your mentor contact information and when you think we might be meeting, and we'll talk about that. This is a PIP worksheet. Where is it here? And this is not the sheet that you will submit to me. So you will not submit this to me as your final PIP because there's a different document that your PIP needs to be submitted in. But this is a worksheet that you can use, and you would duplicate this page over and over again, right? Where you identify what your PIP goal is, and then you identify the various steps that you want to use, and you talk about the subtasks of the steps, what would be the evidence of that, and then, you know, you can talk about what the standards are that are crosswalked with those steps. And we can talk more about that, but that's basically how you would be thinking about putting your PIP together. Let's see here. This is the internship log form that I discussed, and we'll open it up. Slowly.
Are there samples of student work of all of this stuff that's been done already that we can look at, or?
They're not really samples of it. I've put in a sample of a reflection, but not of everything. So here's the log, right? So you're going to put your name, your mentor, your supervisor, and then every day you'll log your date, the time you did something, where you were. I was at school. I was at the district. I was in a workshop at CAS. The people who are involved, I don't want to know that, you know, Tammy so-and-so was involved, but like, you know, it was the principal and the curriculum lead who was involved, and what the activity was, like 1 or 2 lines, so that we know what it is. And then you click off. You don't just check the standard area. You indicate how much time you spent kind of in each standard. So if you're doing, parent-teacher conferences, you would click off the, you know, you would say, I spent 4 hours doing parent-student-teacher conferences. And so you would write down 4 for 4 hours in the parent, in the community-based standard. And then we actually ask you to tally them up every 2 weeks, and then you have a running tally. And, you know, and so what you would do as well is, here you can do, you identify, I need to insert additional rows, right? So I can insert additional rows, and you would just do that, and you'd add more and more rows to the sheet as you go along. So does that make sense generally?
Now, are we submitting it every 2 weeks, or you're just recommending
every 2 weeks?
Tally we submit.
No, every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And you'll see that is what's in the that's what's in the handbook.
And when does that start?
It starts now as the semester starts, right? And then my suggestion is that you just log. You just keep logging. Like, just because our semester ends, you're still in school. So, you know, just keep logging what it is that you do. You need to log 100 hours each semester. And ostensibly, you can stop. If you've logged 100 hours, you don't have to log anymore. But again, I just think you should keep logging. And then you'll see that, oh my gosh, you know, I spent 400 hours doing all these different things. And you have a much clearer sense of what it is that you've been doing. It's very interesting because some people will be involved in rather low-level leadership work, meaning, you know, maybe you always do bus duty. That's not, it's low-level not because bus duty is not important, which it is very important, and actually it's, you know, very social and relational and also logistical, et cetera. But, you know, for people who only do bus duty as their leadership activity, that's problematic because they're not getting an opportunity to do sort of more higher level critical thinking kind of work that you might undertake, say, if you were involved in a curriculum review committee for the school or something. So, it is important, the kinds of things that you're doing, and you'll see, like, oh, I do mostly instruction. I don't even have a lot of leadership opportunities. And if it turns out that as you're logging, you find that you are doing more instructional work, we'll go to your mentor and we'll say, look, can we get this individual some more leadership opportunity or a committee that they can sit on or something in order to either observe or participate in a more robust process. So that's the log. And I have a video. I do videos to orient you to things. So this is a video orientation that I did a while back on how to complete the internship log. So you can look at that. You can see if that's helpful. I also provided some video guidance on writing reflections, which is also helpful. And one of the things that I need to say about writing reflections is that I require that you try to identify two peer-reviewed articles, and talk about them in your reflection. So I'd like you to look at the video guidance on writing reflections, but the idea behind this is that, we limit ourselves by only drawing upon the knowledge that is existing, like in our immediate surroundings, like only from our colleagues or our peers, only from the leadership in our own school. And, we have an entire world of researchers and practitioners who are out there talking about the same things that you are doing in your schools every day. And so I think it's very, very useful, and you'll find how useful it is when you start to do it, to identify an article about something that you're interested in, like, for example, parent involvement in PPT meetings. Like, how do you encourage more parent involvement? PPT meetings with parents incarcerated parents and guardians, for example, something like that. Where do you get information about how to do that better or how to do it at all? The research literature has information about that. So I like you to try and do your observation, and then in your reflection piece, you can say, well, I watched this PPT process, and one thing that I saw was that the team really did not do as good a job as they might have engaging the parent and really, learning from him or her what it is that they needed. And so I was interested in that, so I went to the research literature to find something about that, and I found this article, and it said these things, and that makes sense. And then you can draw upon those things that the article said to inform your recommendations. So, and then to your point, Keith, here's this example of a reflection. And it's just one reflection. It's it's not perfect. There's no perfect reflection, but it is an example. Here's a template for your community service, and that's actually a lot like the PIP template. It should be up with the PIP template. I'm going to put this up here. Oh no, it's student view. And then there's a discussion board, which we can use. Different groups, different cohorts. I guess you're kind of my cohort. Use the discussion board more or less. Some are very active in communicating with each other, and some are less. So that's everything that's on Blackboard 9. Any questions about that?
Nope.
Anything from you, Rebecca?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So now I'm just going to go to the presentation because I want to make sure that I haven't missed something, and I'm going to kind of blow through it because I've talked a lot of different things, about the things, but I want to make sure that I haven't missed something. So we welcome you to this internship experience, and it is an authentic experience, and it is transformative in the way that it takes place. I'm sorry, this is a PDF, and I keep thinking it's a PowerPoint, so I apologize for my my navigation skills. Okay, so your mentor must have validification, and we want you to be thoughtful about your mentor, meaning when you go to select someone that you have a nice relationship with, that you feel that you can be honest with them, and that they will have insights for you, that they will help guide you, that they might pull you aside in the hall and say, did you just see that? Did you see what happened? You know, this is the dynamic that's going on, that will bring you into the inside and soft, you know, the soft aspect of leadership and relations within an institution. And sometimes you select a mentor and it doesn't really work out very well. And if that's the case, if it's not working out, you just let me know, and we can either switch it or you know, work through it. I'm the supervisor. We communicate by email and phone. I will visit at your site to meet your mentor, and we will have a couple of group meetings, typically by WebEx like this, at a mutually agreeable time for the whole group of, I'm going to help you with your PIP, and I will be feeding back on all of your work, etc. We want you to fulfill your course requirements, and I can be flexible about you submitting your work, but it really is incumbent upon you to take a leaderly approach and to do what is necessary when it's necessary. So, you know, I ask you to identify a timeline at the beginning, and I really encourage you to. And so throughout this process, also because you are a representative of of yourself and your own professionalism and professional development. You're a representative of Southern as Southern's intern, and you're a representative of your own school as someone involved in the school. We want you to maintain your professionalism in all ways, in everything that you do, in your attitude, in your behavior, et cetera. So,
are you considered our university's supervisor?
I am your supervisor.
So just a clarification, because I had gotten an email that said I was in Section 7 and I was assigned to Jess Gregory. So it's not
right.
Jess Gregory, it's you?
It's me. I don't know
okay.
I'm not sure about that. I'm the one. And I wonder, I mean, maybe you're all confused. Was that true for you too, Keith?
I had that same thing, and I actually talked to Jess Gregory, and she told me that it got changed a little while ago or something like that.
Okay. Well, it'd be nice if you were updated. I didn't realize that, or I would have said something about it.
Then I'm going to ask a follow-up question, because I've been texting back and forth with someone else who's doing the internship, but she
yes.
is assigned to someone else.
Yes.
So it's not just you that does this. There's several of you.
Absolutely, because there are, I think, you know, I'm going to say like 150 interns.
Okay, so you're the only one doing a web meeting, which is fabulous, and I want to thank you for that, because it helps clarify things.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. That's good. Okay, so any other questions about anything? Nope. Okay, so this just basically goes over what it is that I said, you know, what the requirements are, and, you know, you need to do the PIP. And note, when you look at the handbook, you'll see that these things are in the appendices as well. And actually, that electronic log form we developed so that you could have an electronic form to fill out. Talked about how it needs to align with the standards and be measurable. The log itself, you can't log your summer hours, but you can work on the PIP if it comes to that, but you all should be done in the spring. This is the CAS conference, and this is on your, you know, this is on Blackboard so that you can, this is its location at Cheshire. And then this is what I talked to you about, how you need to have your approved inside PIP, the 100 hours each semester, the proposal for community service. This is for 687 this semester. These are the requirements for you this semester. So the 3 or more field experience reflections, documented evidence of PIP implementation and substantial progress. So that kind of evidence I was telling you about. Some positive appraisal by your mentor, which is when I go to see you or when I talk with you in the middle of the year, I may be connecting with your mentor to see what he or she's saying about how the relationship is going. And then your high quality work in every piece that you're doing, okay? And then, you know, this is look ahead to the future. In terms of what it is that you need to do to finalize things in the second semester. But if you continue to just, you know, systematically complete your reflections I think, you know, if you complete a reflection every month, you should be good. In 688, which is next semester, there are the additional requirements, and we're talking here about the CAT. Actually, this is incorrect because it used to be that the CAT was connected with the internship, and if you did not pass the CAT, that you didn't finish the internship, and that's no longer the case. They're completely separate. So you will get a grade for your internship, and then, you know, you can take the CAT and pass the CAT or not pass the CAT. But again, as we said, don't take the CAT unless you've taken 682 or 3, for whichever unit, and you've really talked with your profs about whether it's time for you to take the CAT. Because some people go up and they say, oh, I'm just going to take it for practice. And by taking it for practice, what that does is, you know, if you fail it, I think it discourages people and makes them more nervous. And it's also not a great reflection on the university when we have students who go forward and who fail. So we want to be sure that you are truly ready to take it. And so I hope that that makes sense and that you'll take it at the appropriate time. And they're going to have, you'll hear about CAT prep sessions. Dr. Madonia, Dr. Labus, and Dr. Gregory provide those, and you'll hear about them. And then when you've completed the internship, there's some paperwork to undertake, and you'll see in the back there are forms. Appendix F is the big one, and then you would submit that with other materials to Lisa Atkins and to our certification person, Ken Bungert, and the State Department of Education, and you can get your 092 certification. Final thoughts. It's a real opportunity, this internship, to increase your professionalism. And one of the things that, and I'm sure you've experienced this yourself, that as you become more and more a leader, you actually do change. Sometimes you lose some of your friends because you can't be as, friendly or, I don't know, maybe fast and loose as you can be when you're only a teacher or only, you know, a counselor without leadership responsibilities. And so as you move forward in this, you know, make sure that you're watching yourself and you're reflecting on yourself and the way that you're learning and the way that you're changing. You have a lot of wonderful resources all around you, and I think that's a big thing that we try to stress, or I try to stress in this internship, is that when you're a leader, you can't lead alone. Everything happens because of the will and the effort of the people around you. And so learning how to deal with them well, and also learning how to see the many, many resources that exist around you, whether they're monetary or whether they're cultural or whether they're relational. That's actually a very big piece of leaderly behavior. So I think that is, the only thing I didn't do is I didn't show you the actual handbook, right? So let me open the handbook. Have you looked at this yet?
Yeah, I've looked at it quite a bit.
Okay. How about you, Keith?
Briefly.
Okay. So, you know, this is you know, it's going to tell you everything that you need to know, but the standards, and this is the overview of the experience, your mentor's role and responsibilities, and you should give the internship handbook to your mentor so that he or she knows what they're supposed to be doing. And I'll also be sending them. There's this on page 16, this summary of your requirements for 687, your summary for 688, and so on. I'll go to 16 and 17, and I'll go down to the appendices, okay? Okay. Actually, where's that one list? There's one little list. I'm sorry to flip here. Okay. So in 687, you want to do the PIP, your log, 3 of the 9 reflections. And remember, one of those reflections has to be your diversity reflection, and that can be done in the first semester or the second semester. Propose your community service project, and when that's approved, you can begin it and do your pre-LC. And that's all you have to do this semester. And then in the second part, you're going to have these other things, which is the reporting form, your assessment, these additional pieces. And then here's the information around what the CAT should be. And I mean, not the CAT, the cumulative portfolio reflection. It's a 5 to 6 page narrative. It has 3 different sections, and they ask you to do certain things in those 3 sections. And you can include accolades and other accomplishments in your portfolio. You can include a resume if you like. And here's a little more guidance about what the portfolio reflection should be about. And that's basically it. The appendices are the different documents. So this is the syllabus, and you will see that I have put the syllabus with my personal information on the website, but it's exactly the same as this. And then, go ahead.
When we submit the pre-LC, are we just
Yep.
submitting, when the pre-LC, we submit just the summary page to you or the entire?
You can do just the summary page. You can do both. Different people do different things, but I only require the summary page.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your preferred method of communication?
Well, when it's submitting things, I want you to submit to Blackboard.
If we have questions, we want to talk something over with you, is it email, phone call, come see you?
I think it's best to email me and we'll set a time. And, if you email me, then we'll probably talk by phone.
Okay.
Just to set things up. No, that's a really good question. So, you know how I showed you that PIP worksheet?
Mm-hmm.
The PIP worksheet should then fill into this sheet, okay? And we don't have electronic copies of these, which is too bad. And if somebody would like to make one, they should, and we can share it around. But this is the format that you would put the PIP into, okay, where you first identify the action steps. So if you have 5 action steps, you're going to have 5 steps that indicate the evidence for each of the action steps above, if that makes sense. And then we get it signed by everybody. And these days we're doing a lot of electronic signatures and so on. Here's the log, and I have given you the electronic version. This is your reflection, and you can watch that video that I have on the link is on Blackboard that explains about filling it out. And the only thing I didn't say in the video that I wish I had is just that we really want you to focus on the standards, in terms of what you're seeing. Which standards are you looking at and seeing, and what is it that you're seeing that helps you understand the standards? You have to encourage the standards, or a way that the standards are kind of difficult to implement and support. And so I won't say more about that because you can watch it. And then this is the mentor assessment. As I said, it's a big checklist. And here, this is the final page that you need, and we fill this out at the very end when you, because you need this to submit for your 092 certification, and it needs to be signed by you, by me, and then the department chair. And then this is the LC, and so there's an LC1 and the LC2, so make sure you do the right one. And then at the very end, is it the LC reporting sheet, I think? Yeah. So this is the LC reporting sheet. And what you do is, these are the scores for your pre, and this is the score for your post. And when you chart them here. And so if you could make each one of these only use a column for half of each one of these so that when you go to do your post, you can use the other half for your post score, if that makes sense. And using color is nice. And some people actually make electronic charts, which is fine too. I think that's it. You've been very patient.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah, but you'll see that it actually, I think what you'll find is that you're actually already, but you're not necessarily, logging it or, taking an hour and a half to reflect on it every month, It's really not all that much work, I think, on one level, because it may be, well, except for the PIP, which is something that you take on. And I encourage you, as you think about a PIP, that you talk with your mentor to identify something that is something that you would maybe already be doing, so that it's not extra to what you're doing. It should, try to make it something that's maybe an enhancement of what you already will do or will want to do, if that makes sense. So, any other questions or?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just absorbing it all.
Okay. Okay. Well, what I'll do is I will share this video with everyone else in the cohort or in our little group. And then what I'll probably do is have us do another WebEx. I'll send out a doodle poll to find out when everybody can show up. And we'll do a brief WebEx just to introduce ourselves to one another and talk a little bit about any questions that people have after you've read and digested this information. And just in general, when is the best time for you two to meet?
Evenings are okay.
I'm assuming evening.
Yeah, evenings, but I mean, there are certain nights I'm not available because I